What's going on, everybody? We should be live. Wait for everybody to get rolling in here. Starting a little bit early, so we'll run through these two games, some possible scenarios for both games, and then we'll answer whatever questions you guys have. I hope everybody's having a good Tuesday because Wednesday just got a lot better. $20,000 to first for our two-game slate tomorrow night. Man, the Caitlin Clark effect is in full swing. So, but that's tomorrow. We'll talk about that tomorrow. Or, well, I'll talk about it a little bit later on tonight. But we'll fully talk about that slate tomorrow. Oh, let's get over here. All right, so let's look at these odds real quick. And it's gotten wider. Oh, my God. The poor Atlanta Dream. Like, they just wish they had a dream, or their nightmares season's about to be over. The spread keeps getting wider. I don't know what it was exactly when I recorded the YouTube video. I'm pretty sure it was 10.5. It has jumped all the way to 13 now. The under is getting steamed heavily. And I remember the Storm Aces game was a 9-point spread. It is now an 8-point spread, and it got all the way down to 7.5. So and here's some big WNBA news. The LA Sparks have parted ways with Kurt Miller. Goodbye, so long, farewell. You won't be missed. Let's see here. All right. But the Dream Liberty, that is something that we definitely want to keep an eye on. That spread keeps getting wider and wider. I'm not confident that game stays competitive. Now, will their rotations be as bad as the first game? No. The Dream will play their starters a little bit more. Like Tina Charles only playing 4 minutes in the second half is laughable. Like, she's obviously going to play a little bit more in this game. It's her last game of the season. Arguably her last game ever. Very well could be her last game ever. So I'm expecting them to play their starters a little bit more, but they won't get full run. They will extend the bench. Tanisha Wright is the first one to give up in a fight. She's the first one to quit on her team, on whoever. So on the Atlanta side, it's very minimal on who I like. If you think this game stays competitive, there will be 2 to 3 spots from this game in the optimal lineup if this game stays competitive, just because New York prices are really bad. On the Atlanta side, if the game is competitive, it's going to be because of Tina Charles and Ryan Howard. Alicia Gray's solid. She gets Sabrina Ionescu's defense. Jordan Canada, I don't really have a lot of interest in. Naz Hillman's fine because value is really scarce on this slate. She's going to play right around 30 minutes. Then, if you think Atlanta just gets the doors blown off and they're losing by 20-something going into the fourth quarter, and they want to play their bench players, it would be Amihir, Kalu, Jones, Kabaj, and Caldwell would be the 5 that would get extended. All of them are really cheap. I think my favorite 2 would be Kalu or Amihir. I would not put Nia Coffey in that group because she'll play rotation minutes, like 6 to 10 minutes, and then they have 11 players, so she will miss out on the blowout run. She will not play. They'll play Caldwell, Kabaj, Haley Jones, Kalu, and Amihir. So I'm really, really light on Nia Coffey. But on the New York side, if this game's competitive, Sabrina Ionescu is too cheap. Jonquel Jones is way too cheap. Benaja Laney's too cheap. Febich is too cheap. But I don't have a lot of confidence that this game is going to stay competitive. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to fade the New York Stars. I think Stewie can still get there. It's harder to pay off this price tag if the game was to blow out, but it's Breanna Stewart. She can easily do it. Then you got Sabrina Ionescu. It's easier for her to pay off $10K running the point. Only 26 minutes last game, 33 fantasy points. I think it's likely in the realms of possibilities she puts up 35 to 40. Jonquel Jones, bad game last time, only 22 minutes, lost out on a couple minutes in the first half because of 2 quick fouls to the surprise of nobody. But Jonquel Jones, we all know the upside that she has. Anytime she takes double-digit shots, she has just huge upside. So love the price tag on her. Benaj Laney's my favorite play on New York. She should be at least 1K higher. Like, that's just way too cheap. It's a really severe misprice. She's going to play right around 30 minutes. She's an excellent defender. She can hit the three ball. She's going to get you some peripheral stats. I just think she's too cheap, in my opinion. And it's a whole lot easier if this game was to blow out for her to pay off 6,900. Even if she gets you like 18 to 20, it's not going to kill you. Then like Febich is fine. And then if you think the game turns into a huge blowout, Baby Sabali, Baby Bali, she can smash. She's a well north of a fantasy point per minute player. And then if you're just looking for a punt play that is going to play rotational minutes, hold your nose and you can click Kayla Thornton. She played 17 minutes in the first playoff game. Obviously, massive blowout. Let's look. She actually played a decent amount before the blowout run. She played practically the entire fourth quarter, so she was on pace to probably play 10 to 13, 14 minutes. She's just not a very good fantasy point per minute player. So play her if you dare. Then the late game, obviously the better of the two games. This is a game that I personally would like. If you can build 5 players from this lineup or from this game and 1 from this first one, I think it could hit, because Seattle, now their backs are against the wall, win or go home. They ran the tightest rotation of any team in all 4 games on Sunday. Starters practically played the entire game. Skylar Diggins-Smith, 37 minutes. She looks great. Nneka Ogwumike, my favorite play on the slate. She played 39 minutes. Technically, she's set for 30 seconds. At the end of the first quarter, she played every other second of the game. She looks amazing. She's my favorite play on the slate. Joel Lloyd, she does not look healthy. That's my only worry with her. Obviously, her ceiling is extremely high. We know the upside she has when she's shooting the ball well. She's going to take shots. If they fall, she has a really big ceiling at 9,300. But if her knee is giving her problems, or if she's struggling, they can pull her like 26 minutes in a playoff game. That's not encouraging. Gabby Williams, I think she played 37 minutes. I think it's very possible she just plays the entire game. We know like what incredible shape she's in. She can play 40 minutes, no problem. She's been shooting the ball a lot more of late. She's got a ton of peripheral upside. She's got a lot of stock upside. I love Gabby. I think she's going overlooked just because she's over 9K. Ezzy, I think she makes for a solid tournament play. My only worry is I think with how good Mercedes Russell's been playing, I think they're going to split that 5. I don't think Ezzy's going to come back in and immediately go back to like 30-plus minutes. I think she's going to play like 24 to 28 minutes, and then Mercedes Russell's going to get the rest. As for everyone else on this team, I don't really have a lot of interest in anyone else. Like Nika won't play, Vivians won't play, Holmes won't play, Whitcomb might get a couple minutes, but I think she DNPs. Horston is the only other one, but at 6,500, I would just rather save $1,500 and play Russell and hope she like splits with Ezzy. Horston at 6,500, I think she's going to play high teens minutes, but she's just not asked to do a lot on this offense. Like when everyone's available and playing, like she's just not going to shoot it that much. Then on the Aces side, they're going to run a pretty tight rotation as well. Pretty much you're going to see Stokes start, but she's only going to play right around 15 minutes. She's fine at 5,100. She just has 0 offensive upside. That's the only thing that limits her. And the minutes, like Tiffany Hayes has just been on another planet of late. She's been playing out of her mind. 7,100, you're absolutely chasing playing someone like Tiffany Hayes, but she's going to fit into so many builds. She's going to be really popular because she's been playing well, and at her price point, she just fits in so many builds. She's going to play mid-20s minutes. Alicia Clark's going to play right around 20 minutes. Then you got like Chelsea Gray, low 30s. Kelsey Plum, fresh off one of her worst games of the season. She's a great tournament play, but she's going to play right around 30 minutes. Jackie Young, low 30s minutes. Asia Wilson, mid to high 30s minutes. She's going to take a small break at the start of the second quarter, and depending on how bad they do, It will depend how short of a break she takes. She may, like last game, they were playing well, so she took a full 4 minutes. If they struggle, she may only get like 1 or 2 minutes worth of rest and be right back out there. So let's get over here and answer some questions. Yep, tomorrow. That's nice. That is nice. 20K. I'm down for that. I'm gonna have quite a few lines in that one. I hope Indiana State. Yeah, I'm hoping that it's not just because it's Caitlin Clark, and maybe we'll keep getting these big contests, but might need to see on Friday. Maybe they need to extend it and see what the contest looks like on Friday. I didn't follow why you. Yeah. So my reasoning is, I think now if you think the game just completely blows out, I think it's going to be 15 to 18 points, and Atlanta's going to keep their starters in for a majority of the fourth quarter. I just don't know if the value can get there. Like if instead of the Atlanta value playing the entire fourth quarter, and some of them playing a few minutes in the third quarter, rather than that, they're just going to get 5 to 6 minutes. I just don't see Atlanta just throwing in the towel immediately in the second half. Like that's my only reasoning. I'm playing 2 New York players, and then I have 4 for the late game. I don't have any Atlanta players in my lineup. I do think like there's merit to playing like a Kalu or an Ami here for Atlanta. If you think the game blows out, they can get there. Like at the flat min price, if they score like 10 fantasy points. But my only worry is I just don't see Atlanta just tossing in the towel too early. Like I think they're going to play their starters enough where the value may not get there. That's my only worry. That's why I'm not going there. Now you have to do it on FanDuel. Like you absolutely have to figure out what value like you want to chase. You really cannot play Asia Wilson on FanDuel. Like, and I don't even know if you can play Stewie. But you just have to, like, I'm playing for the blowout on FanDuel. Like, I have 2 players that won't touch the floor if the game's competitive. They'll just be zeros, but there's just nothing on FanDuel to get away from it. But, yep, Kurt's gone. Good riddance. Yep. I am actually pretty surprised they fired him. I really am. Wouldn't shock me if Stephanie White steps away from the Sun if Kurt Miller just goes right back to Connecticut. Would not shock me at all. Caldwell, Thornton, and Sobley all play in the blowout. Caldwell will. Let's look at rotations. Caldwell played in the blowout. Baby Sobley played in the blowout. And Thornton played most of the fourth, exited for a few minutes, and come back in the final 2 minutes to play in the blowout. She relieved Benajelani. So, yes, all 3 of those would play in the blowout. Laney or Hayes, man, that's tough. Like, I want to side with Laney just because I'm more confident, like, she's going to play 30 minutes. She played 30 minutes even with the blowout last game. I think she could play a little bit more if the game was to stay competitive. But, man, the way Tiffany Hayes is playing right now, it's tough to not click her. She's just been playing so well. It's probably Benajelani for me for a little bit of a discount, though. Skylar or NECA, I'm going NECA. But it's close. I just like NECA for the discount. I think she's going to play the entire game. I'm really high on that Seattle team. I think their starters, minus Ezzy, I think Gabby, SDS, and NECA are just going to play huge minutes. And if Lloyd's knee allows her to, I think she could play big minutes. But I don't know. I know NECA, SDS, and Gabby are locked into high 30s minutes. So I'm really high on those 3. Caldwell or Thornton, I would go Thornton just because she is guaranteed rotational minutes. Now, if you think that game blows out, I don't mind playing my Caldwell. But it's pretty gross either way. But I would probably lean Thornton. She's at least going to play no matter what. Like Caldwell may not. Thoughts on Maya Caldwell and best two cheap options, and who would be your one option from Atlanta, New York? So my favorite play out of this first game is Benajelani, just because of her price point. She can get there in a huge blowout. She can get there in a semi-blown out game. She can get there in a close game. There's just a lot of paths for her not to fail, where like Stewie, the price tag can get her if the game turns into a huge blowout. Sabrina, too, where it's a little bit less likely for Sabrina, $1,500 less. And then JJ's kind of the same because she gets almost $1,500 cheaper off Sabrina. I just look for some of the cheaper players in that game, especially if you think it blows out. If you think that game blows out, I would not recommend playing like a Brianna Stewart. You can play Sabrina, but it gets dicey. I think my favorites, if you're playing for that first game blowout, would be just Benajelani, maybe Jonquel Jones, just because of her price point. But if there's foul trouble for her, she's not getting there. She is not going to hit value if she gets in foul trouble and misses 5 to 6 minutes, and then the game turns into a huge blowout. So it's tough. It's a hard game to navigate because if it stays close, the New York Stars are going to nuke. Like Brianna Stewart's going to be like a must play if this game is competitive because Naz Hillman cannot guard her like on any level, close to the basket, mid range, or on the perimeter. Like she can't guard her whatsoever. It's just really hard. And then it comes in, like if you think it's a huge blowout, it brings the Atlanta scrub value into play. There's a lot of ways you can attack. Like if you're making 10 lineups, I would have some lineups that game stays competitive and you have some shares of it. I would make some like huge blowout lines, like where you maybe only play one of the cheap values from Atlanta and then maybe Benajelani, or maybe nobody from New York. You just play one or two cheap values from Atlanta, and then you just stack up all the stars in the late game. So there's a few ways you can go about it, but like the two best cheap options, like just safety wise, like if you're not wanting to be super, super risky, it's probably just like Alicia Clark and Phoebich. Like those are like, I mean, if you consider Benajelani a cheap option, she's my favorite by a lot. But like if you're dipping down like below 6K, it would probably be Alicia Clark, Baby Sabali, like those two. And then I guess you could put Kayla Thornton in there. I'm just not confident like she's going to put up any kind of DFS score. Where Baby Sabali, no matter what, like she's a good fantasy point per minute player. And then Alicia Clark's going to play 20 minutes. So if Alicia Clark's going to play 20 minutes and Phoebich is going to play high 20s minutes, I think they're probably this range right here. These three are probably your best cheaper options. But for a little bit more, I mean, 6,900 Benajelani, 7,100 Tiffany Hayes, and then 7,900 Chelsea Gray. All three of these look really good. Like this value right here, I think Naz Hillman's a fine play. I don't really love it, but I think she's a fine play as well. I think there's a lot of decent, like lower tier mid-range plays, but there's no good value plays. Like nobody that you're like, oh, I can play this player to make sure I can get Asia, NECA, SDS. Like if you're jamming in studs, you're pretty much having to play one of the gross Atlanta values that if the game stays competitive, you're just taking a zero. Like, and you can still get there. Like, it would not shock me on a slate like this if the Atlanta-New York game was to stay close and people had good lines with zeros in them. Like, just because they need to do a better job of pricing some of these players. Like, me here is like the garbage time all-star. Like, she should not be a flat 3K. You should have to pay like $3,800 for her. You shouldn't be able to build lines like you can with her. Like, because if she plays 8 minutes, she's probably scoring in double figures just because she's a pretty good fantasy point per minute player, and New York will just be wanting to get the game over with. Like their players will be out there just screwing around. So Gabby or Ezzy, for me, it's Gabby. I just don't trust Ezzy to play full minutes. That's my only thing. And I know Gabby's going to play high 30s minutes. I'm extremely confident that Gabby's going to play 36 to 38 minutes, perhaps even the whole game. If it's close, like Noelle Quinn is not going to pull her girls if that game's close. They're just going to play the starters. Why is my screen blurry? You may try and refresh the stream. I don't think we're having any other issues for anybody else. Thoughts on Queen? She will DNP. I would not play Queen Wnba. Does Thornton and Jonquil? No, you can play both together. The thing, like especially on a 2-game slate, I don't think you're going to see really anybody that's just truly negative correlation. Like it's only a 2-game slate. I think the biggest one would be like if you were playing Jonquil and Baby Sabally. Like with Baby Sabally, she's going to get extended if Jonquil Jones gets in foul trouble. So you don't really want to play those two together. The way you can is if you think it turns into a big blowout. Maybe you think Jonquil Jones pops off, has an explosive first half. I mean, easily possible. And Baby Sabally comes and cleans up late third, all fourth, and crushes. So there's really nobody that's like super negative correlation, but that would be the one that would be a little bit of negative correlation. Let's see here. Dream starters are the same. Just want to make sure we're not getting anything crazy here. Oh, did we get the last taco? I'll do it here before the stream ends. Somebody make sure to remind me, but I'll do a taco pair for the last taco that we get. I think it dropped already. I don't know what it would be on though. Probably NFL. Yeah, NFL receiving yards. All right, cool. So yeah, we'll do that taco pair here in a bit. I want to make sure you answer everyone's questions first. Yeah, definitely. I would not play Queen Wnba. Yeah, she's just not going to play. Phoebich, Nas, or JJ Thornton. So pretty much like, does Phoebich and Nas outscore JJ because like Thornton probably gives you like 6 or 7? I would probably go Phoebich Nas just because I just don't trust Kayla Thornton whatsoever. Like she played 17 minutes last game, and I think she had like 3 fantasy points. 4. Oh, my bad. 17 minutes, 2 shot attempts, 4 fantasy points. Man, I just can't play that, even at 4,300. Hayes or Chelsea Gray. For me, it's Chelsea Gray. The playoffs have started. One of the best playoff performers ever. Chelsea Gray, she just turns up in the postseason. So I still lean Chelsea Gray for the minutes. Like she's going to play low 30s. Hayes, she's been crazy though. Ezzy's back in or full go. I don't think she's going to be full go. I think she's going to play 24 to 28 minutes, and then Mercedes is going to fill in the rest. Mercedes has played well. That's the only thing. Like, they didn't mention. They just said Ezzy's not on the injury report. They didn't bring up, like, oh, she's going to immediately go back in the starting lineup. She's going to do this or this. We got no news of her practicing or anything. It was just out of the blue. She's not on the injury report anymore. So it's really hard to know. I wish it was the early game, just so we would get that news first. All right, so same starters for New York. But yeah, it's tough. I just don't expect her to be full go. I don't see a scenario where she plays 30 minutes or 30 plus minutes. Especially since we just saw Joel Lloyd like only play 25 minutes, like her first game back. Gabby or JJ? Gabby for me. I'm extremely high on Gabby Williams. What should we play as value under 6 or 7K? Benaj Elaney is the best value under 7K in my opinion. It's Benaj Elaney, then it's probably Phoebich, Alicia Clark, Baby Sabally, and then Mercedes Russell, and then like a couple flights of stairs, and then it's Kayla Thornton. But there's some good plays in that 6 to 7K range. Storm beat Aces. I don't see it. I do think they cover though. I think Seattle +8 is a good bet. I think the Aces. I think that line should be like 5.5. But I just think the Aces clean up. Asia Gabby or Stewie Ryan. Asia Gabby for me. I'm just now. If you think that first game stays competitive, it's extremely close. Because if it's competitive, Stewie's going to crush, and Ryan's probably having a good game. But I'm just not confident that it stays close. And if it doesn't, like, you're going to want Asia Gabby. But that one's up to you. If you think that first game stays competitive, I have zero issues going Stewie Ryan today. Like, I told everybody in the Discord, Asia Wilson, always a core play for me. She's always the best point per dollar play on the slate. I'm not playing her today. Like, this is the first slate since like June that I haven't played Asia Wilson. So I'm just going a lot more balanced, but it's tough. Like that first game, it'll decide the slate. Like if it stays close, players in that game are going to go crazy. Favorite value on FanDuel. I think I'm playing Wnba here. I don't think she's like 3,500. Let's look here. So I think if you're dipping down that low, you can play like Dokic, 3,400. This is all assuming like that first game blows out. If that game doesn't blow out, I think the earliest playable player that's going to actually play in the game is Nia Coffey at 4K. Gustafson might get like 3 or 4 minutes at 4,100. Whitcomb could play a couple minutes at 4,400. Thornton at 4,700. Then you got like Caldwell. But I think on FanDuel, I think it's just better to dip down and play these players and just hope that first game blows out. And just play like an Wnba here or a Dokic or Kabaj. Players like that and just hope. Like FanDuel, there's no reason to play like players like a Megan Gustafson, who's probably only going to play 3 or 4 minutes. I would much rather just take a zero playing someone that's $1,000 less than her and be able to pay up to a better player somewhere else. 3 Vegas starters with 2 Seattle starters, too much? Nope. I think that's perfectly fine. Gabby or JJ? Gabby for me. I'm pretty well off a lot on that Atlanta New York game. I'm just not confident it stays close. I think it's going to be reasonably close, like not enough where everyone just like New York pulls their starters in the third quarter. Atlanta pulls their starters in the third quarter. I think the line it's at 12.5 right now. I think the game, it's going to end up being like a 15, 16, 17 point game where like the starters get pulled midway through the fourth. Me here and play. Yep. I think if you're playing for the blowout, I think her or Kalu at the flat men look great on DraftKings. Favorite Seattle piece, Nneka Ogwumike. She's my favorite play on the slate. Love Nneka today. Asia and Russell or JJ and Gabby. I'm going to go with JJ and Gabby. I'm just not confident with Mercedes Russell's minutes. Like if I knew like Russell was starting for some reason, like I would like her a lot more. I would side with Asia and Russell. But if Ezzy plays 28 minutes and Mercedes Russell only plays 12, it's really hard for her to get there because she's not that great of a fantasy point per minute player. Even though she's only 5K, and Asia's Asia, I just love the upside that Gabby has. Like if Gabby plays the whole game and you get a decent game from JJ, like let's say you get 30, 35 from JJ, and then you get 30 or 35 from Gabby, that's 70. Obviously, Asia can get that. Like she's done it numerous times on the year. You just have to fade it and hope like she goes for 50 because Russell in 12 minutes will not score 20 fantasy points. So I'm siding with JJ and Gabby. That's the side that I personally want to play today. I do, like, I've talked like ad nauseum about that first game being like a nightmare scenario would be if it stays competitive. I think JJ is a solid play either way. The only way like she truly will just straight up fail is if she gets in foul trouble and then the game turns into a huge blowout and she only plays 20 minutes again. That's where she fails. But at 8,700, it's pretty hard not to want to chase that. She's going to be low owned too. Like, not a lot of people are going to play her. Gabby, Chelsea, or NECA, Hayes. Oh, man. Damn, that's like picking between my kids or something. Oh, man. Probably NECA, Hayes. I don't know, though. That is super, super close. That's like splitting hairs because I'm really high on Gabby. I prefer NECA to Gabby, but I prefer Chelsea Gray to Hayes. Like, I would probably go NECA Hayes just upside, but it's truly like a coin flip. Yep, you can play Plum and Gray together. I love the tournament upside of Kelsey Plum. Everyone and their mother is going to play Tiffany Hayes. Everyone. Her price, she just fits in so many builds. She's been playing out of her mind. Everyone, like box score watchers, are going to play her. People just making lines, like she fits into a ton of builds. Nobody is going to click on Kelsey Plum the way she's been playing. Like, she's just been super up and down, but a big, big ceiling. Like, if she scores 20 real life points, she's going to 4x her salary. So I like Plum for tournaments. I made a lineup with Howard, Stewie, NECA, and Asia. Yep, there you go. I mean, you can get there. Like, if you think this first game blows out, you can play some gross lineups. SDS Gray, me here, Gabby, Asia, and Phoebus. Love it. Love it. All you're hoping for is first game to blow out. That's all you need. My big 4-1 lineup: Ryan, Stewie, NECA, and Asia. Yep, I don't mind it. Thoughts on Colson? I just don't think she's going to get enough run. In the first game, I think she played 4 minutes. She played 4 minutes. She's been playing it well. Like, people hate on her. Like, she's a good player. I just don't know if they're going to play her. Like, at most, she's probably going to get like one little mini rotation like that where she plays 2 to 4 minutes. But if Plum's playing well, she probably just doesn't touch the floor. You playing any Russell on DraftKings? I'm not. Nope. Just one single bullet lineup for me tonight. No Mercedes Russell in it. Any value in Caldwell off the bench? So she saw meaningful minutes. She played. There's 3. She played 5.5 first half minutes. And then she come in with 1:28 to go in the third quarter and played the rest of the game. So she technically only played 5.5 meaningful minutes. Really, the game was well over late in the third quarter. I just don't think there's enough value in it. Like, she's going to play if there was a blowout. So, I mean, she's not a bad play. But, like, if you're playing for the blowout, I would just much rather play like a Kalu or an Ami here for cheaper. Yep. Just playing 2 flat men players. Favorite value on FanDuel. It's probably like Alicia Clark. Like, let's look. I don't think there's really anybody like Alicia Clark for 5K. Like, she's going to play 20 minutes. She looks pretty good. Jordan Horston, 5,300. She's going to play high teens minutes. She looks fine. I think Kia Stokes, 4,900 is fine. She's going to play 15-ish minutes. Baby Sabali, 5,400. That whole range right there. And then Naz Hillman, 5,600. She's going to play close to 30 minutes. So I think she's going to play as well. Like, there's some decent like range right there, but you're going to have to dip a little lower if you want to play anyone in the 7K range. So it's pretty gross. Clark or Sabally. For me, it's Alicia Clark. I'm just more confident that she's guaranteed like right around 20 minutes, maybe a couple more, where like if you play Baby Sabally and that game's competitive, she's probably only playing like 12 minutes. Now, if you play Baby Sabally and that game turns into a blowout and she plays 20, Sabally looks a little bit better, but I lean Clark just for being a little bit safer. Favorite spend up guard? I like SDS. I didn't get to her. I had a build I was tinkering with that I had her in. I like her. I don't think a lot of people are going to go all the way up to the top to play her at 10.7K. She's going to play big minutes. She's going to take a lot of shots. She's a good passer. Like she can get you the peripheral stats. And then if you think this first game was to stay competitive, I think Sabrina Ionescu and Ryan Howard both look really good at the top if you think that game's competitive. For a double up on DraftKings, who would you lock in? A'ja Wilson. Like A'ja, I would start with like A'ja Nneka and build from there. Those are the two. Actually, I would probably just go A'ja Nneka and then like Chelsea Gray or Benaj Elaney. Like then just start with those three and build off there. Play like some value that's going like for double ups and cash. You just want to play people that have secure minutes. So like Alicia Clark, even Kayla Thornton, like players that you know are going to play. Like you don't double ups and like for cash, you do not want to play like an Ami here or a Kalu, anyone like that. Ryan or Sabrina, for me, it's Sabrina. I just think her ceiling's a little bit higher. Ryan's going to shoot it a lot, but New York is a suffocating defense. They usually do a pretty good job limiting Ryan Howard. Now she may shoot it 25 times and make 10 of them and make me look bad, but I'm pretty high on Sabrina if that game's was to stay competitive. So I really like her running the point. Like her peripheral upside just goes way up. Do you think Ezzy being back hurts A'ja a little? No. You really like it's extremely hard to fade A'ja Wilson, but you just have to take a stand. I think today is the day that you can. Obviously, she's the best player in women's basketball, and she could absolutely just nuke the slate, and it wouldn't surprise me. But I think if there was ever a slate, I think it's today where you can get away with getting away from her. But it is the postseason too, where rotations get a little tighter, so the value is a little bit harder. So you can't just automatically jam A'ja like you could on bigger slates towards the end of the season when value is available. So I do not think Ezzy being back affects A'ja Wilson at all, though. What prize picks are you on? Oh, all right. Let's do this. Let's do a prize picks play. So the CD Lamb Taco. What do they have? I know it bumped right before I started the stream. For some reason, my desktop won't pull up WNBA first half. So we're gonna do the taco with Nneka Ogwumike over 17 first half fantasy score. And that's the taco play. I love Nneka. She starts out extremely strong, typically most games, and she sometimes will fade in the second half, but I just love her tonight. And earlier it was at 16.5, getting a little bit of extra love on it, but of course it bumped. All my stuff bumps before I want to use it. Queen Egbo, I do not think she plays. Crazy to just punt Egbo on FanDuel. You can. It's just tough. Like, is she the flat min? She's 3,100, so it's not like terrible, but like for $300 more, you could play like Dokic, who would get run in a blowout, or a me here for $400 more who would get run in a blowout. Like if that first game was to blow out, Amir is probably going to be a must on FanDuel. Like she's just going to open up so much and she's going to have a decent game. But yeah, you can take a full 0 on FanDuel tonight. Like there's just you pretty much have to. Yep. Plummer Gray. I like Chelsea Gray over Plum. I just think she's a lot safer. And then so it's Gray with Stokes or Laney and Nas. I would probably lean Laney and Nas. Like, I'm just not confident. Like, if Stokes plays 15 minutes, she's probably going to score like 7 or 8 fantasy points. Gray puts up 30. Like, you get 38 out of those two. I think Nas puts up 20, and then Laney probably puts up like mid-20s. So I lean Laney and Nas, but I'm not crazy about playing Nas, and I definitely I'm don't really want to play Kia Stokes if I don't have to. Caldwell or Kabaj, for me, I would play Kabaj. Like if you have that extra forward spot, Caldwell, I can't get there. What are their price are pretty similar, aren't they? Caldwell, yeah, 39, 38. I would just rather play Kabaj like 16 minutes. Kabaj is probably going to see a couple rotational minutes as well. Like last game they played, Tina Charles played the entire first half and then sat midway through the third, and that's when Kabaj come in. Kabaj played the final 15 minutes. So if they pull Tina for any reason, Kabaj is going to be the one to step in. Also, if Tina Charles was to get in foul trouble, Kabaj is going to be the one to step in. So definitely keep that in mind. Let's see. I'm still debating on a couple things. All right. I did make a couple changes to my FanDuel lineup. I am now almost triple punting. I need a couple of WNBA bets to lock in. So I don't know what it's still over under 156 for the Atlanta New York game. I like the under there, and I like Seattle +8. Those are my two sportsbook plays. I can't bet on the book, so sadly. Is Russell still in play or Fader? I think she's in play. It's just tough. Like, I just don't know what to expect Ezzy minutes wise. Like if Ezzy's going to play mid-20s minutes, it's really hard for Russell to get there at 5K. But I do think she's still in play because if Ezzy was to only play 22 minutes and Mercedes plays 18, I think she can get there in 18 minutes. Yep, I think you can go there. I personally would rather only play one true punt, that's going to get you a 0, but you absolutely can go too. Lima, Thornton, Sabrina, or Plum, Sabali. Thornton, Sabrina. GBB, yeah, Thornton, Sabrina. Gabby and Necka together, yep, absolutely. Kabaj and JJ or Chelsea Gray and Russell. Probably Chelsea Gray and Russell is far safer. If you think that first game blows out, I don't mind Kabaj and JJ, but I would probably still go Chelsea Gray and Russell. That's just a lot safer. I think that the late game is gonna be the nuts. I think it's gonna nuke off, and I think it's gonna be a close game. I think the Aces are gonna win, but I think it's gonna be a close game. I'm really looking forward to that game, and luckily it'll be coming on right after the Dana White Contender Series fights in, so I'll be able to watch it. You played a lot of Canada points under 10.5. Nope. I'm not on Jordan Canada. I actually liked her. I played her under 19.5 PRA. I love the under 10.5 points. Atlanta is a terrible half-court offense. And Benaja Laney picked her up 90 feet from the basket and pressed her ass the whole game. The whole game. I couldn't play Jordan Canada today. All right. Hope you guys got that taco play in. Maybe we'll cash it. First stream taco play. Maybe have to make that a thing going forward. Let's see some of this ownership. I think this game's going to come in pretty low owned. Benaja Laney, 31%, well, virtually 32%. Jonquel Jones, 38%. That's pretty surprising to me. I did play JJ. I'm a sicko. I have a sickness. I can't help it. Maya Caldwell, 15%. Stewie, 44%. So on a 2-game slate, a lot of people are hoping Stewie can nuke off. And if the game blows out, like they need her to nuke off in like 28 to 30 minutes. Febich, 44%. So there was the other chaser play. Let's see here. Kubaj, 4%. I like that. If you're playing for the blowout, that's a good ownership there. Sabrina, 17%. I like that. Nia Coffee, 14% Nia Coffee, who will not play in a blowout. Okay. That makes no sense whatsoever to me. Let's see if I see anybody else. Me here, 6%. Kalu, 12%. So all y'all sickos that are playing for the blowout, I love it. You guys have earned your tournament stripes, but that's a lot of sickos. That tells me that Asia Wilson is going to be very high owned. 12% Kalu, 6% of me here tells me that Asia Wilson's probably still going to be well north of 60% owned. Like, would not shock me at all. Like, that's pretty crazy. I didn't see really a lot of ownership. Just scrolling through a bunch of players on Atlanta starters. So if you played any Atlanta starters, hoping that game stays close, and it does, you might have a shot at 10 grand. So this game is going to decide the slate, like 100%. If it blows out, the people that played the punt plays might get there if they play enough. If it stays competitive and you don't have a lot of pieces in it, you better pucker up and hope the late game goes crazy because it could get dicey. Yep, Kabaj, I think she's a solid play at 4%. If Tina Charles was to get in foul trouble, she's probably just going to be in the optimal almost immediately. Alicia Gray, 10%. Reinhard, 23%. So people did chase that 6-stock game from Sunday. So I love Ryan Howard more than anyone, but I couldn't go there today. Thoughts on the showdown? Jam as much of the stars as you can in your lineup. I think it's perfectly fine to take a 0. I think starters are going to play a ton. I think it's well within reason that you can take a 0. If you don't want to, let's see here. Mercedes Russell is a solid play on the showdown slate for her price. What is her price on here? 4.2K. I think you can still get the Asia Wilson captain lineups, but I really like NECA or Gabby, or even going down to like a Chelsea Gray at captain. There's a lot of ways you can go. I'll drop some stuff in the Discord here in just a bit, but yeah, that showdown is going to be fun. 5K to first. That's a good showdown. Haley Jones, 4%. So yeah, that's pretty spread out. And you got like Charles, 18%. So yeah, they did pick up a little bit of ownership, but if the game's competitive, pretty much all their starters are too low owned. But I'm just not confident they keep it close. I think they're going to pack it in. So I just don't have any faith in them keeping it close with New York. But that's going to do it for me, guys. I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to find some food, watch some fights and some WNBA. I'll have the YouTube video out for tomorrow's big slate, 20K to first. I'll have it out probably about halftime of the late game. And then we'll have some fun tomorrow. I'll probably start the stream up even earlier with that big of a prize pool up top. That way we can hang out. Make sure we're locked in for that one. That's going to be a fun one. But let's see. Other than Russell, who do you like low cost for showdown? Let's look here. I really like Russell, Stokes, Alicia Clark, Horston. All those are fine plays. Everyone else, I would rather just like full on punt and take a 0. I don't think I want to play. I don't really want to pay $3,800 for Sydney Colson or Sammy Whitcomb. I just don't think they're going to play enough. Like they may play 2 or 3 minutes. I would rather just go all the way to the bottom and play someone that's going to DNP to be able to pay up a little bit more somewhere else. So right in that range, like Mercedes Russell, Kia Stokes, Alicia Clark, Jordan Horston, all those are in play. Everyone else below them, I'd probably just full on, like if you're punting a spot, I would go all the way to the bottom to like Nika Mule or Kirsten Bell and play one of them. But that's going to do it for me, guys. Good luck to everybody, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.